All right, if you are on a sales team and you're trying to book meetings with retail brands or CPG brands and you haven't been able to do it, or you just haven't been able to do it as efficiently as you want to, this video is going to explain why. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you why you're not booking meetings with the brands that you actually want to be working with. If you guys don't know who I am, I'm Ryan Ogan. I'm the founder of Money Make Marketing. In 2025, we generated $3.5 million cash collected revenue using this strategy, and all of our clients are vendors of these retail and CPG brands. That's essentially how we play. We know this space very well, and I'm gonna walk you through this step by step so you understand why you're not booking meetings when you should be, okay? So let's get into it. The very first reason we need to actually, let me backtrack. The very first thing I need to explain to you is what goes into actually booking a meeting. So let's just go into booking a meeting. That's the first step, okay? So we're just gonna say we're targeting retail and CPG brands. There are some nuances between the two. For the sake of this video, I'm just gonna explain it all as one. So if you're maybe bottling or labeling, or even you're a display and fixture company, like, this is very important for you to understand for both sides. So just lump them all together. So essentially what's happening, you have your target. So this is them. They are a decision maker at let's just say a major retail brand, a household name retail brand, or a CPG, okay? So this is them. Now, there's way more manufacturers of these retail brands. All of them are trying to hit that decision maker, that one decision maker, and they're using the same strategy. They're all doing cold email, which is just this little diagram here, or they're doing the LinkedIn. I don't know how to draw the LinkedIn logo. Let me see how that looks. That's not bad. Okay, so they're all doing these things. Maybe they're running some ads too. But every single one of them is hitting the prospect. Every single one of them is hitting the same person over and over again. And then they think that more volume is gonna equal a meeting, which isn't the case. So what's actually happening, this person right here, they're bombarded with so much noise, they have to be in what we call scanner mode, okay? Scanner mode essentially means your prospects is literally just looking through all their messages, but with as little energy as they possibly can expend on that. They're just going through, glancing, little as time, just clearing their inbox essentially. They're looking for something that might be valuable to them because that's why they go through their inbox, but they really just are just clearing it out. They don't want to miss something valuable, so they just glance at every single message. That's essentially how we have to get them. So they're going to be in scanner mode here. Now, they might be looking at your outreach. They might look, decide it's not interesting, or just bad timing. So immediately what we do, we are trying to get, because we know they're going to see our message. We know they're going to look at it, especially if you're using LinkedIn outreach, especially if you're doing cold email properly. We know for a fact that we will get to that decision maker and they will view our message. Now, if they look at the message and they decide it's not interesting for where they're at right now, or it's just bad timing, maybe they're in the part of their sales cycle that's not even interesting right now, you're toast. So I'll put you over here and I'll draw a piece of toast. So you're just toast. You're screwed because you didn't do a good job of explaining why they have this is interesting for them right now. So what we do, as soon as they look, we're pitching them something of value that's low commitment, consume, and is exposing something for them. Exposing relevance is what okay? So essentially what this is, we're pitching them something that we know that they will think is valuable. So if, let's just say, we're going after a retail brand or a CPG brand, and we reach out to the decision maker that did all of the new packaging, for instance, for that particular brand. They did all the actual packaging, e-commerce packaging for the CPG brand. And we reach out to them and say something specific about that packaging. That's valuable. Now, low commitment is, can we send over more information? Low commitment, that's not me asking for them to get on a call. I'm just asking if we can send some information over to them. Very low commitment. We just want to get them to say yes, okay? If we can get that, next thing you need to do is send over something that's easy for them to consume. We always opt for a video pitch. The reason being, it's super easy for them to consume, but we can sprinkle in other points that we found out about them to increase our relevance. So the reason we do this and the way we do it properly, it works so freaking well. Now, there's a nuance to it. You don't want to say, can I send over a quick video? Because now they think that they got to sit and watch a whole video. People are super lazy. They do not want to do any extra work for their job if they don't have to. Okay, so that's something we actually screwed up on very briefly. I'm on the ball. Listen, I'm on the ball. But we noticed that we had a drop in response rate and drop in positive response rate when we did that call to action versus just normally what we typically do. So that, if you hit all these things, you will pass the look test and you will get a positive response saying, yes, sure, Very, not like the most groundbreaking thing in the world, but now you have the CEO, COO, you have the head of procurement, director of whatever that you to actually say head of retail, VP of retail, saying, yeah, sure, send over more information. That is the key to opening the door. So that's the first step. So if you're not booking meetings, you are probably getting lost in this scanner mode. And I feel sorry for you. If you need help with this, you go to our website, apply to work with us. I will literally walk you through it. Even if we have a client that competes with you, I'll just go through your messaging and I'll walk you through how we would go through it. We can't take on any brands, any vendors of retail brands that are actually competing with our existing clients. We're gaining more clients right now. We're really expanding because we're getting really good at this, but we'll still be able to help you if you want us to. So if you wanted us to look at your campaign, go to our website, apply to work with us, and I'll get on a call with you and we'll go through it. But so if you aren't booking meetings, I would check to see what your response rate looks like. If your positive response rate is below, let's say your response rate is 1, your positive response rate of those should be 50%. So of the 1%, half of them should be positive responses if you're doing this right. If you're below those KPIs, there's a lot of other things that could be going wrong at the top of your funnel. You could be targeting the wrong people. Your messaging could just suck. The lead magnet that you're offering could be terrible. Everything, a bunch of things can be different. But I'd imagine if you're below 0.5% positive response rate, that means you need to get this dialed in. Okay? So that's that. Now, okay, once we get a positive response rate, maybe you're able to get positive responses and people say, yeah, sure, send over information. Maybe you've learned all this stuff. The secret to booking a meeting is what we say in our video pitch, okay? Now, I'm gonna explain why this works so well, and I'm also gonna show you some other ways that you could tackle it, because what we do is super time intensive, but we also print. We also make our clients a shit ton of money. So if you don't wanna put in as much work as us on this, no hard feelings. I'll give you some other options. What we need to do now to book a meeting, okay? So now I'm gonna draw an arrow to book a meeting. What we need to accomplish at a high level is to explain why they need to meet with us now. So when I said our key right here is exposing relevance, that's the urgency. That's the interesting thing. And I'm not saying, oh, we're having a sale on blah, blah, blah. No, that's like BS. These are sophisticated decision makers. They are the decision makers at these major brands. Like, you are not going to trick them with some marketing tactics. But explaining why they need to meet with you now in the video pitch is very important. You could do, my favorite one is to expose a problem of theirs. So essentially what I really like to do is show them what they're currently doing. So if for one of our vendors, let's just say they are a packaging company. If I show what they're currently doing as far as their packaging goes, and then I work through and I just go through and super hyper analyze all the problems that they're likely facing with their packaging. And then I pitch solutions off of that. How good I get on the research on their current packaging and the problems they're likely feeling. It could be existing problems. It could be anything. But how good I get on that particular part, I'm not going to go through the specifics, and how well I solve them in my pitch. That gap is the thing that books your meeting. It explains so well why they need to meet with you and why they need to meet with you now. And so then that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to expose the timing. And what I like to do with this is say, look, I know it's probably not the right time for you right now to jump on a call with us, but we'd like to do at least get the intro call out of the way. So when you need us, we are ready for you. That also works really well because we know everyone that's watching this video knows right now, if it's an urgent project and they are trying to switch vendors, it is a massive nightmare going through getting approved as a vendor, but also getting that first PO over, getting uploaded into your system, billing, this, that, and the other. It's just a massive feat. And when you're rushing things, all of that goes to the wayside, right? And we like to expose timing if we can't necessarily expose a problem. But the very bottom line that you need to be thinking through as you're trying to get people on these calls is explain why they need to meet with you now. And I don't even mean, you don't even need to say, look, you should meet with us because. I'm not saying that. You want to talk about it from the perspective of the prospect. So if you were the prospect, and you saw hundreds and hundreds of messages every single day, you couldn't meet with all. You would only be able to meet with the ones that are really interesting, the ones that could actually solve your problem, the ones that are actually in the business. So you got to drop in like social proof, because that's what I would want to see. I want to see, who do you actually work with? Tell me why you're freaking qualified to even waste my time, let alone me give you more time in person. Social proof is a really big part of this, but also showing that you did the research on them and you understand their problem and you can solve it. So those are the big ones that for me, and that's essentially why we're able to book so many calls with these brands. Now, if you're the prospect, and I think a subtle nuance to this, so if you're still watching this video, a subtle nuance to this is that I see a lot of people do is say, hey, you should meet with us because we work with all these brands. They don't give a crap. That doesn't explain why it's not from their perspective. You're not answering their pain point. I could say to, let's just say President Trump, like I work with all these clients. You should meet with me. He's gonna be like, if he even responds, he's gonna like clap and be like, okay, nice. But if I explain why he should meet with me from his perspective, Mr. President, you need to meet with me because I saw that you're having this issue and I actually solved this for somebody else. Now it's because it's about them versus it being about you. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. It needs to be about them, okay? Not about you. So you use social proof to show them to bolster that you can solve the problem, but it has to be about them. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. Everyone's always trying to pitch about you. So if you do these things and you tell them, explain why they need to meet with you now, and you keep it about them, you actually say, I care about you more than you care about us. If you literally can walk them through that and give them that feel, you will book a call. And the goal, if you want to just like a little bonus, the goal is not to book calls. The goal is to close deals. And what I found is I'd rather, and I saw a YouTube video on this the other day, some younger cold email guys out there, some younger outreach, they don't even do LinkedIn outreach, they just do email. They were saying, oh, wouldn't you rather have 100 booked meetings instead of 4? And it's a no-brainer. Why not do 100 meetings? And I literally said in my head, I don't want 100 meetings. I don't want it. I literally don't. And if you booked me 100 meetings, I would literally cry. I don't want to work. I don't want to be on calls with 100 different strangers. I want to be on 100 different stranger calls if they all close. Same thing with you. If you're on calls with 100 different brands and they all close, great. But we all know if you're just booking calls willy-nilly and you're optimizing for booked calls and they're not qualified and they're not warm, those calls are just a waste of your team's resource. We only care about the calls that we book closing. So one of our clients, when I book him calls, he literally closes all of them. He's getting a quote out for literally all of them, and then the amount of quotes that we get out that we win eventually is 80% of them. So I'm not booking him 100 calls a month. We literally probably book 5 to 10 calls for him per month, but we close freaking business from that. And that's the CEO that's doing these deals, because we love doing bigger deals. We're not here to do the small $5,000 deals. We want to do the big deals. So that's the most interesting part about this. It's throughput. If you're actually trying to make money, which if you're watching this video, you should be, it's not how many calls you book, it's how many calls that you book that close. So if you have a market that's optimizing around the wrong thing, that's probably why you're not booking meetings as well. Also, I would like to say this. If you are struggling with booking meetings, you just are not understanding the right principles, and you honestly are most likely not treating that prospect like they're a human, and you're more so treating them just like they're a prospect. Treat them like a human, treat them the way you would want to be treated, respect them, understand that they're very skeptical, and respect their time, and you are going to see things like skyrocket for your business. So if this is the only video you watch this year, it'll make you print. So just take this with a grain of salt though. Try it for yourself. If it works, come back, comment the video, comment, subscribe. Ryan Ogren, Money Make Marketing. See ya.